member since 2009.
So last time we talked about a reference OpenStack, if you remember. So I mentioned OpenStack as a keyword, as a product, as a source project to think about, discuss, and use and operate. And the day before yesterday, I found out a new website which allows us to try OpenStack for free. The website is called TryStack, and it is limited to those who join a particular group.
TryStack.
Yeah, this is the site, trystack.org. And you have to become a member on Facebook. That's the requirement they have. So you have to join this Facebook group. And by the way, this is not readily available. You just have to join the group itself on Facebook, and then it gets approved. And I apparently got approved just a few. Yeah, so here. So few hours ago, 4 hours ago, I got approved of this request. I joined this group. I think it is a good idea to join this because it lets you get access to a machine instance that runs OpenStack Sandbox.
Sandbox.
The Sandbox does not run on your laptop. It runs somewhere away from you. You just access it through the browser. So it's a good idea to accept and join this group. It is, yeah, the group is called trystack.org. That is the name of the group. I think it's a good idea to join. I don't know what we'll see when it becomes available. I have no idea what's going to happen if we join.
Viruses.
But I think it sounds like a good idea to join, so I just joined. I'm now a member.
Oh, on Facebook.
On Facebook.
We're looking at LinkedIn.
No, Facebook. So that will get us this. And right now, if you join, you will get in as a member. Till it will not work because the thing is actually, I think it is pending right now for some Juno updates. So TryStack is in the process of being upgraded to Juno. So you heard somebody say Juno before, did you?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. That's what J is for Juno. So they have had so many releases. It releases every 6 months or so. The latest one is J as in Juno. And that's what is being upgraded. This box is being upgraded to that Juno release. Please be patient. And TryStack will be back soon. And at that time, you can log in through your Facebook account. So log in via Facebook, and it will let you experiment with OpenStack inside the browser in a sandbox environment for free. For those who do not want to give out their Facebook account, you have to set up your own virtual machine and run DevStack. DevStack is open source, and you have to run it yourself. This was the other option before I found out about this TryStack, where I was planning of running DevStack on a virtual machine that you have already. You need to be having a machine with 8 GB RAM and 8 GB RAM and a machine with a good CPU. Yeah, so that's a concern that with DevStack, so it may not work. So 4 GB of free RAM. 4 GB of free RAM, not total 4 GB, but 4 GB free is needed. If your RAM is occupied with something else, then it will not work. So that was the requirement for this DevStack, which we used to use before. But I think I will try the TryStack, which sounds simpler, just to understand what it is. So we don't have to set up a machine, we can just use it. So that was about OpenStack, DevStack, TryStack. We'll get to it next time whenever we get access to it. Right now, we do not have access. Even I do not because it's still being upgraded. Even though I have a membership there through this group.
OpenStack Sandbox.
Mine is pending.
So now I'm going to do is recap on what we did in this terminal business. We used Chef as an open source product. Can you tell me what did we do in the last 7 days? We have been, using Chef in terminal machines in the cloud, and all that thing we did. What did we do? Just to recap, anybody?
A lot of hook'em.
A lot of what?
Black magic
Hokum, black magic
in the terminal.
in a black
box.
terminal window.
Hook'em, shenanigans.
Shenanigans. Why did we do that?
So that we knew how to set up a machine.
Why is that important?
Because if you knew one, you can do 1,000.
Yes. So repeatability is important, right?
Automation.
Automation,
There's a different way to do it
repeatability.
besides the GUI.
To routinize the repeatable.
Routine. See, the guy remembers it.
It's not really, it's no notes. Right off. I like your notes.
Somewhere else. Your own notes. Evernote notes, okay. And the idea behind repeatability is that anything that is attributed to a machine, you want to repeat. You know, if it is repeatable, you give it to a machine. If it is not repeatable, you give it to a person. Because they can then apply their minds that we have. Machines don't have minds of their own yet. Yes. Maybe they will never get that kind of. This is all science fiction keeps talking about it. That will probably never happen. But who knows? The idea behind Chef is to automate your infrastructure. When I say infrastructure, what do you visualize when you see infrastructure? What do you see? When somebody says the word infrastructure in the context of cloud computing, what do you visualize in that context?
Server boxes
Server boxes.
everywhere.
What else? You're missing two key things when you say server boxes. You're missing the network boxes and the storage boxes in your discussion. They're also important. The storage, connectivity, or network, and compute. Three things together constitute a data center.
Storage.
And people just immediately say server, but they actually mean these three things.
Well, a lot of times, computing and storage, that's what server is.
Yes. However, in newer servers that you see in the data center, there is no disk in the box. The disk is outside. Yes. It's called storage area network.
What did you say?
Yeah, it's the
Storage.
Yeah. The sandboxes have the hard disk away from the CPU. The computer does not have a hard disk locally. It boots from the SAN.
Yeah.
There's no storage in the blade. See,
Well, not in a SAN sense. I mean, when you have, network storage in that aspect, but I mean, a lot of times you still have some kind of computing ability in that.
yes, in this blade that you see, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 blades. They may not have a hard disk in here at all. There is no storage whatsoever. All they have is a good network card that connects to a sort of storage box from outside. An example would be,
When you say blades, I know we have covered that. Is that that motherboard of a computer?
not really.
Is it a network card?
It has a network card. It can have sometimes other things that are interconnectivity among other blades. Connect network card connecting to storage area network. So it depends on what type of blade it is, but a typical blade will contain a motherboard, CPU, RAM, network card, and some way of connecting to the storage, either it is local or away in a SAN area, in a storage area network. So this is a classic example of a storage box coming up whenever it does, is EMC Symmetrics. And the EMC Symmetrics, they have a new name for it called VMAX, and these are hard disk boxes. This is what typically gets deployed in a storage area network that gets in a data center. And so in data center, you will find not only servers, but also storage boxes and network switches. Network switches connect things together. Server to server connection, or server to storage connection, or server, this pool of machines to outside connection. So any kind of connectivity that gets established is through a network box. And the company most well known for making network boxes is this. They have now come up with machines in form of what is known as unified computing. So Cisco UC. think is the name that they have, Unified Computing, and they actually sell servers now. Servers also now. So the key three things are not just server, but connectivity and storage. All these three things together constitute a classic old style infrastructure. Now, people are slowly moving away from this old style, own your infrastructure in your building, away from that to putting it away in somebody else's building, like Google's or Amazon's, Microsoft's or Rackspace. And some other companies want to keep it all in-house and still have the benefit of cloud computing. Those people typically deploy a private cloud, and these components will go fit inside their environment in their data centers that they own, manage, and operate. They have to pay all of that upfront. You can keep using it just like you would use Amazon Cloud, Rackspace Cloud, DigitalOcean Cloud, or anybody else's cloud. You just use your private cloud in your building, in your campus. So that's the distinction that you have. And Chef is a tool, one of such tools that will help you manage your collection of machines, either inside or outside, wherever you want them to be. So that's the tool set that we got some exposure to, right? So that was about infrastructure and using it in terms of making infrastructure available as a service for your application developers. That you can deploy applications on top of the infrastructure that you create and make it available to your internal customers. Now, one question before I stop talking about Chef is, do you have any questions about Chef? Like, what did you do that you did not understand, or what did you have in mind that I did not answer or tell you about?
How to automate Chef where it just checks out, like if you do any changes on your cookbook, or because I thought you said you can routinely get the cookbooks.
Mm-hmm.
I think you never really covered, or at least maybe I wasn't here, where the Chef client or the AWS server will go to the Chef to get it, like the latest changes or whatever.
Give me a second, I'll explain that part. Yes, thank you for bringing it up, because that may be an item I may not have covered. So I'll call it out. And I'll make sure to write properly and save those notes in a PDF file so I can give it to you. My handwriting is getting bad and worse every day.
You got fonts.
You got fonts? I have a font in my own handwriting. No, you can actually create fonts in your own handwriting. If you handwrite every character, you can get a font created for your name, for your handwriting in script, whatever script you have. So easy to do. So you are asking me about automation of. Let me write some acronyms here. So Chef Server. Chef Server. This is Chef Server. There is this workstation that I want to talk about. Workstation. That's where you sit, and you have your machines in the cloud. You have more machines in another cloud. So let's call it this AWS. Let's call this DigitalOcean. You have more boxes here. And you have another cloud called Rackspace. You have more boxes here. And what you want to be able to do is automate deployment of cookbooks. The cookbooks get deployed from this location to that location. Mm-hmm. And these guys, whenever Chef runs, will pull cookbooks directly from Chef server. And so you want to automate deployment of cookbooks from here to here. All you need to do is send cookbooks by doing something like this. It will be something like a knife cookbook, upload, and whatever cookbook you have, you just change it, and send it, say MySQL, and it goes. If you type that command sequence, it goes. Now you do not want to automate that part of, any change you want to actually carefully evaluate and then send. Any change you're making, you want to carefully evaluate, is that change valid before you send it to Cookbook, upload your Cookbook to Chef server. So you just uploaded something like this. You want to be super careful and not send anything without your permission from here to here. You don't want to send that automatically, because you want to actually carefully evaluate, is that the right thing to send? And there is a human needed here.
What was that? I was asking for was like coming from the Chef server going to the machines.
So that automation, you mean the client, Chef client that runs here, the Chef client that runs here, the Chef client that runs here, is that automation you want talking about? Okay, that automation is a very simple step. You can either have Chef client run on these boxes in this cloud, Chef client running here, Chef client running here. You can have these things run by themselves every 30 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Or whatever you want. You can do that by a simple command called cron.
What?
Cron. And here are examples. And this example runs a shell program called export dump at 8 o'clock every day. So you can basically take this line and make it run at 8 o'clock every day. Now, in this, you can say that I want to run sudo chef client every day 8 o'clock on all my boxes.
Can you explain me real quick on like what the values are on there? So the 0, 0.
Yes, here it is, man, cron. There's a whole book written on cron. You can read to your heart's content and what exactly these things mean. You can. It's very easy to find out, but it's basically days, time of day. Let's go quick. Short documentation should be here. So it's here.
Okay.
So yearly. This first, I think, is for year. The second is for month. Third is for weekly, daily, hourly, and this item, this asterisk is for day of the week. This is for month. This is for day of the month. This is for hour. This is by minute. And the command to execute. That's a short summary of cron. And you insert these commands in cron tab E. That's where you edit. And you paste like this. And you're done. That's how you run this particular command every so often automatically. And I don't want it to run, so I'll exit and say no. But cron tab -E is the way to modify.
So just each.
It's a one-time operation on every box.
Is it pre-installed in every single one
Cron
machine?
is any Linux machine, any Mac. Cron is. If you're dealing with Windows machines, there is an alternative command called @. And this @ command in Windows does the same thing. So it goes by this time, do this. So it's repeatable, also in Windows.
So to edit this, all in G or can we do it now?
You can use whatever you want. It doesn't even matter. Any editor. Editor is irrelevant.
That's for yours. That's for yours.
The E is for editing. Edit my cron tab, please. This E was for editing. That's the command to edit the cron tab. It's a table of cron items. And this @ command will not work here. It will work on Windows. So at this time, do this. You can specify that and automate your runs. It can be anything you want to run. Say, for example, you want to put a and say, so this hello, it can say hello at a given time automatically. If you can predefine this thing, and let it say hello. So your computer will say hello every night 8 o'clock. You can say that. You can make it do like
Make it stop doing that once you made it.
when you go back to cron tab and edit it again and remove the line.
Oh, so contact is the largest. It has like all the tasks.
It's a table of all the cron items.
Okay.
You missed one.
So cron tab is a section of line item, cron tab. It's a table of items containing cron entries. Cron is, I think, comes from the chronos Greek word, which means time. And in Windows, this English word AT will do the same thing.
Okay.
What else did we miss that I may not have covered in Chef discussion? I want to close out on that part. Further questions on what did we miss or you want to bring up on discussion? I want to close out and make sure you understand. We'll keep discussing these things again as we need to, but I want to answer your questions if you have any. No questions? Wow. It's all super clear.
It's not simple.
It is hard. It was never meant to be simple. It is hard because it helps you do a whole lot more. It can help you do the job of a 15% team. You can do it alone. Because it helps you automate the whole thing. If you can do that, you can pull it off. The salaries in that domain are heavy, $300 to $400 an hour.
$300 to $400?
Dollars an hour, a proper chef developer. Yes. Obnoxious salaries. Yes, you can.
So Chef is all about automation?
It is about automation. It is about infrastructure automation.
You can set that, how to do it, you can set that up. Like if you're, like we were talking about scaling. Can you set that up to auto scale?
Yes. So what he's talking about is scaling machines, and scaling is important in Christmas time, if you remember the example. So scaling happens like this. If you have one machine here and you have maybe a few, you need more. You basically add more machines just like that and have them all function together. And you just doubled your capacity. That scaling can happen automatically if you use a product from a company that already gives you a service. An example from Amazon Web Services is auto scale.
Auto scale. And that would be once they see your web traffic.
Yes, you need to specify at what point should I auto scale, and then and come back. Yes, some threshold of how much CPU, how much network connectivity, how much storage capacity are you consuming, and at that time it will automatically scale up, and scale means scale down also. So if it is going up, increasing from 3 to 6, it can also go from 6 to 3. It can also shrink. Scaling down is also scaling. Scaling up is also, so it's both ways. Further questions?
Yeah, I mean, probably the project that they worked on about the building that website. Like, can you please briefly go quickly, what are quick steps?
Yes.
Again?
Yes. So the question was about this company called The Next Chapter.
Or any kind of, let's say that I want to build my own website,
Yes.
but I want to launch it on the cloud.
Yeah, all websites are typically on cloud, unless you are on somebody's computer, right? Yeah. So our idea is to understand what it takes to put up a website together. To run a website, you need some kind of software. In this case, in this example, they were using WordPress software. Now, if you look at the WordPress website, WordPress.org, that's where you will get the download software for free. Now, their implementation did not follow this sequence that I'm going to talk about and describe. However, given the last exercise we did with Apache and MySQL and PHP, I will now discuss that and describe to you what that means and how will you actually build it up from scratch if you want to go that direction. So So you look at WordPress website, not only you will find the software in that location, but also in that very same location, you will have some requirements. What do I require? And that requirements are visible to you on that website. What does it require? What does it take to build a website? They will specify that. You know how to find it? You have to go and say requirements and look for the word requirements somewhere. What do I need to set up a WordPress site? And so if you look at, what is documentation? Where to start? I'll rather directly search WordPress requirements. And that should tell us what it needs. So it tells us that the server needs to be PHP running 5.2.4 version or higher. It needs to run MySQL version 5.0.1.5 or higher. And it needs to have Apache mod rewrite module.
So it has to be PHP and MySQL. It can't
Yes.
be any other programming language.
No, they tell you this is it.
Oh,
So WordPress has to be this.
okay.
That's what WordPress is. It is PHP based application. So you cannot do whatever you want. You have to follow the requirement. The requirement is this. So if you look at my my write-up in our chef file the last time, you know, all these things, if you remember,
Yes.
they are all things needed to make PHP run, to make Apache run, to make MySQL run. If you further look at our roles, we had a DB master role. In that, we had an entry called MySQL, right? If you look at our web server role, we had an entry called PHP. And by the way, also look at this mod rewrite. That same module that we are using in line number 10 is required here, Apache mod
It
rewrite.
says optional in here though.
Yeah, it is optional, but it is good to have it for clean URI.
Okay.
A clean URI looks something like this. You look at this website, and we have some news items. So let's look at some news or a blog entry, maybe at the top. Yeah, so here. Now look at the top URL. See what this is.
Oh, clean URL.
It is clean. You know why it is called clean?
It doesn't have any other like.
Yeah, no
that
question
percentage
marks,
sign,
all that ugliness. That ugliness is gone because I have rewritten the Apache has rewritten the URL itself. That's what this that's what this module does,
Okay.
is to create clean URI.
Okay.
And we are using that module in this segment in line number 10. We are saying that we want to use Apache and mod rewrite module. So these are the requirements defined on WordPress website that says I need PHP, I need MySQL, and I need Apache, and I need the mod rewrite module.
So
Now that was the required setup. There are recommended steps also. For example, you can use either Apache or Nginx.
okay.
Any server, almost any server that supports PHP and MySQL will work. You can even use Windows. It doesn't even have to have Linux. It can run on Windows. It will be called WAMP in that case.
Yeah.
If you remember me telling you WAMP,
Windows, Apache, MySQL, and PHP.
yes, Windows, Apache, MySQL, PHP. You can run it like this. Or you can run it instead of Apache, you can run Nginx. Instead of MySQL, you can run something else, can you?
Yeah.
It doesn't say that.
Oh yeah, on this one.
Yeah.
You cannot.
Yeah, it requires you to use MySQL. Otherwise, a database would become PostgreSQL, which is not recommended. They don't want you to use PostgreSQL. It will not work. It requires MySQL. So you have to stick with this. Nginx is okay. Apache is also okay. PHP, there is no other choice but to use PHP. You cannot use Perl or Python or Ruby or whatever else. It has to be PHP. Here they give you option of Windows or Linux or whatever. They don't care.
This is a platform, right?
This is the operating system.
I mean, when we talk about that, IaaS, SaaS, and PaaS, it's
These things together constitute a platform.
Yeah.
Yes, and on top you have the application.
Okay.
And that is, in this example, WordPress. And it all runs on some kind of an infrastructure. You need, this is where IaaS comes in, and this is where software comes in. Software typically are applications, where you have applications like WordPress here running. If you deploy this software and make it available as a service, an example is this, WordPress.com. You remember that from last time, right? Yeah. Some of it is free, yes, but most of it, for most part, you have to pay for it. Some parts are free. The model is freemium. You got this aspect. Now, can you give me another example of some other software which is not WordPress that will also be having requirements set up and all? So
You mean it has to be free or?
it have to be free. It can be anything. Just some software that requires something. So any software, for example, WordPress, will tell you what it requires. Like these guys say, I require this. And everybody will have their own requirements. Every application will have some requirements. I need to have this, this, and this to run. Otherwise, it will not run. And so the idea behind, it doesn't have to be open source. It can be just about any application will have some requirements to run on some machine. These requirements essentially constitute that platform. You get that point? Can you give me some examples of, other than WordPress, what examples come to mind when we are discussing this context? Is to run some applications like you did. Web.com. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
So give me the name of a software. If you go to web.com, it's actually a hosting company that will give you the platform itself.
Wiki page, like on anything.
Let's see, wiki page. You mean Wikimedia? Is that what you mean?
You know, like some places, anything has a wiki page, like for example,
Yes.
like.
So you heard of this Wikipedia, did you? You know this thing, right? Very well. You. So this software that runs Wikipedia is called Wikimedia. And it is also an open source project. And you can download it from Wikimedia Foundation. And where is that?
It is the same concept, right?
Yeah, it is the same idea. MediaWiki is the name of the application. Wikimedia Foundation is the name. Application is called MediaWiki. This is the application. It's available in almost every language on the planet. The latest download is available here. And let's see what the requirements are. See what the requirements are again? Requires PHP, MySQL. The same, basically, is almost the same that we had in WordPress. WordPress required what? PHP 524. These guys require what? 524. MySQL. And here the PHP requirement is even higher, 532. It will not run if your PHP version is older. The requirements are higher. The MySQL version 5015. In MediaWiki, the version requirement is 5002 plus.
Most of them require PHP and MySQL.
Not really. There are many, many such applications that I did not even mention that require not PHP. They require Ruby, or some require Python. And I'll give you some examples for every
There's
application.
I think one called Craft. I don't know.
Craft? I don't know what that is, but let's find out. Which one?
It's a web building.
Even here? Build with Craft?
Yes, I think.
I don't know if it
It's
is.
mostly for developers. That's what I said.
Aha. Yes, it is commercial product. Yeah, it's for web building.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's pretty much,
Yeah.
you should have
Yep.
requirement to that.
Yeah, they should have requirement in the documentation. They'll tell you what requirements are right there. PHP, MySQL. Yeah, so it's a commercial product, but they also have requirements. For Python as a requirement, the product is called Django. How do you spell Django?
Django?
Yeah, Django. Django. That Django is different. This Django is this Django. So they have requirements also. Let's see what they have. Requirements. So it requires Python 2.7 and some database. It let you choose whatever database you want. They're flexible, but they need some operating system and some language and some. You need from the platform. You need an OS, some language, and some database, and some server.
Wouldn't the language be the bottom percent if you're going to the left stack?
If it is LAMP stack, the language is you're stuck with PHP.
Okay. I was thinking about if you were saying like Linux operating system, and then what would the server be next? Then, or does the order not matter? It's just like the way you guys.
Order doesn't matter. All of these put together. So basically, the order goes like this: you have to have a language. But at the bottom, you have OS. Then you put a language and a database and a server. 3 things side by side. They're not in order. They need to be on there somewhere. Order does not matter. They're not on top of each other, but it's structured like this. And then you have your application or your software on top. That's how it's actually structured. There's no cross dependency in line number 4.
Okay.
You have an OS. Most OSs do not come with any language pre-installed. So you add a language. You also add database. Also add some server that will render pages so you can see your site. And then you have the software itself, which has the smarts, the logic, the design, the view, the look and feel. Yes. And then you put that on top. So this becomes a layer. And typically in case of WordPress, the example
It comes
was
with everything, right?
WordPress pre-installed, like these tech companies comes with everything. So you did not have to do much work in setting this up. But
So it is just gonna be like drag and drop that where you want your things and just
Pretty much.
using that.
except it can be ugly at times. He did not like that plugin that I was suggesting he use. He did not like. So customer is always right.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to force my plugin. It's not my plugin, but it's a good one. But he doesn't want that. It's okay. What he
We're not all webmasters like you, Nilesh.
No, I'm not complaining. It whatever works for the customer is the right one. Right? Doesn't
That's
matter.
the easiest.
Yes.
That's what's right for the customer.
Yes. Yes. So now in here, what Brandon did for that company and all of you that worked on that project did was that you did not worry about these things. Instead, you went to a company and paid them $4 per month for 3 months.
Wow, 3 months. That's
And after that, $30.
So they are there.
Yeah, they seem to have money apparently. That's what they're signing up for, right? Google Apps, they're paying for it.
Wouldn't the WP engine be would they be able to scale on depending?
They scale.
Okay.
If you pay more, they'll scale.
Oh, okay. So this is like your basic one.
This is the basic. So WP Engine will scale for you if you are a commercial site. And you pay them more money, they'll scale for you. And then you will have to pay 100 or maybe 300. Who knows what.
So if you don't wanna pay and if you want all that map installed, how
Then you use Chef.
okay, that's when you okay.
But at that point, you have to have your own box, your own internet connection, and you have to maintain your
Website.
You know what?
server.
Instead of bots, I would use the internet connection available to me by Amazon and get a box for 2 cents, maybe 20 cents.
Yeah, well, but 20 cents an hour, 20 cents a day.
It's hourly, and it's still cheaper than $300 here.
Well, yeah, well, of course, because they're providing the lab stack and they're providing.
They're maintaining it, and they give you support and service and all that.
Yeah.
So it may be worthwhile for a company like the next chapter to not get in dirty with Amazon and Chef. It may be worthwhile for them to just pay these guys perpetually $100 a month and be happy with it. So at least they don't have to deal with Amazon or with Chef
You don't want to have to like keep
or headache. You know, it's a big headache if you don't know what you're doing. Yeah, you need an IT person who can now do the job of 15 IT people, but then you need that guy who's going to charge you. I don't know. That becomes very expensive. So only people in technology business who understand what this is will take on that role and will do it themselves as opposed to paying somebody else.
Most people who offer to build websites and do website hosting for like small businesses,
They'll go this route.
yeah, they run it off, HostGator, they run it off.
And some simple things like HostGator is a good one, but they are actually not so good performing. That's why I did not recommend that. That's the reason I like them. So it's cheap, $3 a month, something like $3 to $4 a month.
Yeah, it's like $8 a month, but that's for their unlimited domains. You can host as many websites on that account.
So this WP engine is specifically doing only one thing, and that is WordPress hosting. If you ask them about doing something else, they'll say no. If their entire business focus is on doing one thing and doing it right, and that is WordPress. That's for them. The question I have for you is, what is your focus? Yes, your focus. That's the question I have, and I don't know that answer yet from you. I want to get that focus, razor focus. What is that one thing that you want to do? Is the question I have for you, and nobody has answered me that yet. I'm asking you. You don't have to answer right now, but you do have to answer. You have to tell me what your focus is on your resume, on your LinkedIn, in your communication of whatever ideas you tell to whoever you meet. Like you meet Andrew West or wherever you go and meet, have coffee with him. What are you going to tell him? That messaging has to be clear and razor focused, aligned very nicely, very sharply, like these guys do only one thing. WordPress hosting, nothing else.
You do have a lot of stuff.
And that's what I want you to do. Okay, switching topic now. Break time. Break time.
Stop.
I just started weekend.
Hold on, let me pause this recording. Or maybe I cannot pause it. Give me a second. I did for Friday, yes.
Awesome.
How do I pause the recording? Stop screen sharing. Here's the quiz. It says type your name, type your last name,
English is gonna be 100.
and then cloud computing is awesome.
On demand,
Which stands for
self-service.
open source.
That's
No, it's
No,
not.
it is not. Yeah,
On demand, self-service.
On demand,
scalable.
Meter.
Yeah,
Meter.
Scalable, right?
Self-service.
It is scalable.
self-service, scalable.
I got it wrong.
I think I need to open
That's
that.
why I call open source when I say OS.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be open source. It can be closed source.
Yeah. That's Amazon takes money. Public and private.
It
CIA.
is. It can be strategic. It doesn't have to be strategic. So some people just use cloud because they like it. Some people use cloud because they're the only choice they have. So strategy has nothing much to do with cloud computing per se. Cloud computing itself can be strategic for somebody, but this model doesn't apply.
On demand.
On demand, yes.
Whenever you need it, right?
It's whenever you feel like. On demand, turn it on demand, turn it off.
That's true.
Self, as in you don't have to call Amazon. Like unfortunately, some of you did call, I think, or you at least called DigitalOcean, or somebody ran into a problem of some sort.
Yes,
You did, yeah. So you have actually initially setting up an account, you may have to call them to get your account set up. But once the account is set up, subsequently the thing is on demand. It is self-service, meaning you don't have to go there. They'll not have to come to you. You can just do it by yourself. Operational is meaningless here.
Yeah.
And Microsoft based.
So you like Microsoft, that's right.
Yeah, I deliberately put that silly word here because of this M. It's totally silly.
You have to multitask.
Which one of these three is the most important? It is the most important. Read it. Some of these are questions are trick questions. The most important.
Flexible.
I put
The middle one.
Yeah.
Two.
Middle.
Does it reduce operational expenses?
No.
Yeah.
That's the middle one.
Yeah, but so does
It's
the middle one. is
The middle
basically-
one.
Does it reduce the capital expenditure?
no.
Yes, it does. It does it really? So what written? There is written something else. What I'm saying something is different. I'm asking, does it reduce capital expenditure?
Yes.
No, it
Yes.
just increases capital.
I know.
It does reduce.
Yes, it reduces capital expenditure. Yes, it does. It reduces capital expenditure. This item is wrong. This is wrong. Does it reduce operational expenditure?
Yes.
No.
No?
No.
Reduces it.
Yeah, it does.
It increases. Because you are not going to pay operational expenses like pay as you go. Pay monthly is operational expenditure.
Bullshit.
If you upfront, that is capital expenditure. Right.
Accounting class then.
It's an accounting thing. So the idea behind operational expenditure is you whatever you pay for on a recurring basis, on a pay as you go, make a pair of glasses. You have to spend money on the frame and the glass and the polishing. Right? On a per unit basis, that's operational expenditure. You get a box in the cloud, you paid 20 cents, 2 cents, that's operational expenditure. You use more cloud.
But
if
you
you were-
You do reduce the operation expense. If you have
you
your
were
own
already doing
data center, you have to have an employee, and if you start comparing like that, it does
If
reduce.
you're talking about a startup company,
In that
yes.
context, yes. Yes, in that context. Yes, you're right. If you look at the bigger picture, it's hard to answer this question, at least this part.
Okay.
It's
Yeah,
not,
that's how I thought.
fair enough. Good point. I agree. I agree. But this is a very subjective thing. The point I want you to understand is that cloud computing actually reduces capital expenditure. You do not have to spend money upfront. Unless you're doing a private cloud.
Yes.
In that case, the claim of reducing capital expenditure also holds true. Tell me how. Have you heard about the word funny money?
Yes.
Where does it come from? Funny money is fake money, like the children who play with. Yeah. What was that? Monopoly. Monopoly is funny money. What companies do is inside the company, they will have an IT department. They have a marketing department. They have a sales department and some customer service department. And what these departments will do is ask IT, hey, can you give me a machine? And they give them funny money. in return. Actually, this thing happens. When you get something from another department, all within the company, you basically transfer money from one pocket to the other. And it actually happens in the accounting books. And that transfer of funding is called funny money transaction. People may use different words for it, but I like to use the word funny money. So people will really relate to it. It's internal money. It's transferring money from one pocket to the other. It's called activity-based costing.
Yeah, to track like which.
Yeah, so who's consuming more? Otherwise, you cannot track, right? So to track who's consuming more, who's consuming less, you use this funny money internally. They'll give budget allocations, and then marketing people will want to spend more money for some reason. Then the accounting will tell that you spent more money last year on some machines that you got from IT department. And even though it is all internal, they still keep track of who's consuming what. And that's where funny money comes from. Even if you have a private cloud, in funny money terms, you still do not have to spend money upfront. From the marketing team's perspective, they don't have to spend money upfront. Funny money, nothing. They give pay as you go. So in the company, inside the company, even if it is private cloud, the usage model holds intact, holds true. Marketing people, sales people will get machines from the IT on demand. Self-service, metered, and scalable, up and down, small and big, or grow out laterally. Yes, keep going.
I was just going to say, but if you were setting your company up that way, then part of the budget for the IT people, wouldn't that be part of the budget's going to already need to set up machines and give it to other departments?
Yes, that's the upfront capital expenditure that will have to happen if you're setting up a large data center in your company. At the company scale, yes, there will be upfront capital expenditure.
But if you were giving money in a budget to another section to give, knowing that they're going to request cheap machines from IT and move money over there, isn't that basically you're giving money out twice? Does that make sense?
Money doesn't actually, when you give
budget.
budget.
About funny money, but I mean, you're talking about coming up with budgets for.
The budget translates to metering. Who's using what? This metering or measurement. Who's consuming more machines? That's what boils down to. So marketing people want to have more machines for the upcoming Christmas season, so they can get more customers attracted. That's good. So they need to pay more for the machines that they got. The money gets collected in funny form by the IT department. And IT department will make money now because marketing paid them. Again, funny money. But they will make money. This is internal accounting. That's how we keep track of who is consuming the resources. Otherwise, they will have to report. If they do not make funny money, then they are wasting their money. Right? At the IT department, if they invest $1 million and do not collect any funny money at all, nobody use those machines. And they just spend that $1 million for no reason. You have to actually make use of that you buy and give it to some other entity in your company and have them pay for the machines they get from you. And that's how internally you have a $1 million box you allocate it to 3 different groups. You get funny money from them so you can recoup your investment and show profit. Otherwise, it's hard for that IT department to prove long-term viability. The boss will say, you spent $1 million, but you gave nothing to anybody. Why did you spend? Now, if you order and give it to marketing, give it to customer service, give it to sales, somebody's going to pay for it in funny money form. You can tell your boss, hey, if I spent $1 million, these guys have given me funny money. See, I made money. Because somebody's actually using it. If nobody's using and you have a $1 million box, that's pointless, useless, wasteful expenditure. But if you invest $1 million and somebody's actually making use of it, how do you know they're using it or not? Collect funny money. Then you know. And you make return, a funny return on real money. Then you know that you actually made some useful investment. Otherwise, that CIO who bought that $1 million box should be fired. Because nobody's using it. Why did you buy it? Now with funny money, you can show that these guys are using it. That's the reason why people use funny money, is to keep accounting intact. Otherwise, you don't know what's going on in large companies. Who's spending, who's wasting, who's making use of, I don't know what people do. But the only way to track is to account for and budget and pay internally. So, if I send you my employee to go work in your team, you have to pay me money, all internally. It is fake funny money, but you have to account for it. Because my guy working for you, you are in marketing, I'm in some customer service. You need help, you pay me money. When I need help, I'll pay you money. It's a transaction like that, all funny money, all in the company, but you have to keep track of that. Without that, you lose out. And the concept is called activity-based costing. This is a good model, ABC. It is a good model to operate a large business internally by using ABC. Do you understand what I'm talking about in terms of fake money and how it translates to IT department spending $1 million and then justifying that I did good?
Yep.
If they do not collect funny money, there is no way to justify that expenditure.
Army does it.
Yeah, everybody does it. Army does it, ABC all the time. Everybody does this funny money business in some form. They may not call it by the word funny money, but they'll use this word, ABC. This is very well known. This is a 3-credit course in MBA. Yes.
Yeah, it's such
Tired.
calculating.
Yes, that's how it feels like when you're doing accounting.
Yeah,
But-
I
So it is measured, scalable, on-demand self-service. And by the way, operational expenditures might go up because you are spending funny money now, all in the company. But that marketing team is spending money. Pay as you go. As you take my machines from the IT department, you're going to pay me in funny money terms because you took my boxes or virtual machines. So your cost of operating goes up a little bit
Understand.
in that context. Similarly, the capital expenditure goes down because you don't have to spend $1 million and sales does not have to spend $1 million and customer service does not have to spend $1 million because the IT department already spent real cash $1 million for all of you that you can share. And then that's why this increased capital expenditure is actually not true. It actually reduces capital expenditure because you do not have to spend upfront. So the number 1 and number 3 are wrong. Let us read the number 2. Flexibility to add and remove resources. Yes, add a machine, remove a machine. I don't want it, take it away. I don't want your guy, take him back. I don't have to pay for it anymore. The guy that came from my department to your department now works for you for some months. You have to pay me his salary for these 3 months. And you're done, you send the guy back to me. He's on my payroll now, so you don't have to pay. That model is what cloud computing enables, is this flexibility to add and remove resources and pay only for what you use. That's a key. Pay as you go and measured. So these are the 2 answers for this page. Let's move. Next one. By design, native applications work across all the platforms.
False.
Yes, it is false. Can you tell me why?
Yeah, because they can't take a Mac app and run it on a Windows machine.
Very good.
Or a Linux
Beautiful,
machine.
beautiful, beautiful. Are there some apps that will run across all platforms?
Yeah.
Yes.
Specifically,
What will be the example of an app on all platforms? That same exact app.
Google Docs. Outlook.
Yeah, it's not a native app though.
Skype.
Skype works because it is Skype for Windows and Skype for Mac and Skype for iPhone is different app itself. To enable that same exact app, like he said, Outlook. So Outlook for Windows and Outlook for Mac are 2 different applications. So there is one type of application which runs across any type of operating system, and it is not a web application. It is a native application, and those applications are called Java applications. And Java applications run in a Java virtual machine, and that Java, when you install Java on Windows, Java on Linux, Java on phone, Java on Android, that Java application can run in a Java virtual machine across any machine wherever it has Java. Java itself is specific to Windows, specific to Mac, specific to Linux. So if you go to java.com, you will find that Java is available. But do I have Java or free download? So if you go look at what I have, it will tell you, oh no, cancel. So see all Java downloads. You will have a Java download available for Windows, a Java download for Mac, and a Java for Linux, Java for Solaris. So there is various binaries available for Java, but once you have these things loaded up, Java applications themselves will run on anywhere wherever there is Java virtual machine available. That's the scenario. Native apps work on that specific underlying operating system, not anywhere else. You cannot take Outlook for Windows and run it on Outlook for Mac without using
Java.
It's not a Java app.
What did you say without using
Without using?
the like operate
How do you get Outlook?
virtual machine?
Yes. 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 So you take Outlook for Windows and you want to run it on Macintosh. What do you
You
do?
have to run Windows in a virtual machine on Macintosh.
Bingo.
Bootcamp or.
Bootcamp is actually pure Windows, not Mac.
Yeah.
Mac is the hardware. Mac OS is the operating system. See, this is OS X is the name of the operating system. The machine is called Macintosh. OS is called OS X. So to run Outlook for Windows on this hardware, you can either run Windows directly like Bootcamp, but that will be called Windows. It will not be called a Mac OS. So to run on the Macintosh OS or OS X, how do you run Outlook for Windows on OS X? Is that you create a virtual machine, install Windows on that box, and then inside that box, you boot Windows and then you install out for Windows. You've seen XP running on this box without me shutting down. Have you? While ago? Windows XP?
Yeah, you showed it once, yeah.
Same idea. Yeah. Very, very early on. So it's a virtual machine that runs XP. That's next. Which one of these is not a cloud computing service model? What are these service models?
Hardware as a service.
So which one is not?
Hardware.
Can't do that.
Actually, this question is old, and the question is now wrong. Here's why. Because they have come up with anything, I don't know what. Look at this funny name. What do you call it? I mean, people are making up names. Now, what do I do with that? Change my question? I guess so. I will have to change my question. So the question becomes wrong because of this thing.
It's weird. Yeah, why would they just say hardware as a service?
Yeah, but they're giving it actually. They're exactly doing what they told you here. And this becomes hardware as a service.
So you actually do
They're giving
physical-
they're giving real physical machines to you, but away from you. So this becomes a valid choice. So back to so all of this, the question itself is wrong, what I'm saying. Because of this one thing, which is metal as a service, language of cloud to physical servers. So they'll give you physical boxes, not virtual boxes, not virtual machines, not like Amazon does, not like DO does, but actually allocate a full box to you on API, on demand, metered, everything. The cloud principles will apply. But they'll give you a complete box, not a VM, not a virtual machine. And that basically destroys my question. Next. You can develop, where was that? Yeah, you can develop a native application for the iPhone without using a real device. How do you do that?
You use Xcode and then you use the iPhone emulator.
Yes. Have you seen the iPhone emulator, all of you? Have you seen native?
Yeah, Windows and.
I don't use iPhone.
Have you seen Windows emulator?
Yes.
Have you seen Android emulator?
Yes.
What is an emulator?
It's something that runs the OS.
Yes. So what is the difference between emulator and simulator?
Emulator actually is the real thing. Just running.
Simulator.
Emulator is the real thing. Simulator kind of simulates the real thing.
Simulates the real thing.
Emulator is actually the real thing, except it is virtual machine. So virtual machines are what these emulators are. So you have a virtual machine running that runs iOS in that window, that look like phone like window, that window, or that look like Windows Phone. It will run a virtual machine running Windows Phone OS on top of Windows OS. If you have Android, you will have an Android virtual machine containing the Android OS on top of Windows or Mac or Linux. Right? So you can develop it, you can create the app without actually having a real iPhone in your hand. So it is true. Native apps for the Android OS are written in
Java.
Java, C and C++.
English.
English.
But not objects. Objective-Cs for iPhone.
Yes. And now a new language called Swift for iPhone.
Yes.
Eclipse is the only IDE. The only is a trick part.
I see.
There is no such thing as the only IDE.
No.
There are 100 others.
False.
So it becomes false.
Because aid was wrong also.
Yep. Google Docs, generally speaking, I'm referring, the new name is Drive.
Everything.
Can it do spreadsheets?
Yes.
Yes. Can it do presentation? Yes. Music?
No,
Can you?
no.
Can't create.
Yeah, you cannot. Can you create drawings?
Yes.
Can you create PDF?
Yes.
Movies?
No.
MP3?
No.
Documents?
Yes.
Forms?
Yes.
We are using a form right now. This is a form. This exam or quiz itself is a form. And it will store all the results in a spreadsheet for me. So I can see who did what, who scored, who answered what. I can see that. I will not show it to you. Google Docs preserves the user state in the Google Cloud.
Yes.
Yes.
What does it mean?
It saves,
It
saves the state.
Whatever you're doing.
What state? Washington state?
Now,
What
say
state?
the word you're working,
Like what?
reserved. Like if you are,
It's like
like, let's say that
Yes,
if you
but
are typing some kind of like
what
a
does the user?
story,
What does the user see? What does the state mean to the user? To a person on the street using Google Chromebook, what does it mean to them?
It means that they don't have to press save button. It
Yes.
just is.
as it goes, it keeps on saving, and when you come back, it starts from there.
And what happens if you throw that machine, the Google Chromebook that the
But it
person
will
bought?
still be there.
They just
You
destroy
log into
the
another
Chromebook.
machine.
Throw it
But
away.
if you log into the account, it's still gonna come.
Yes, that's the point. Is preserving user state means everything you were doing, the apps you loaded, the data you stored, anything that you wrote or saved, entire thing is automatically saved in the cloud with Google. And so if you destroy your computer physically, buy one, log into that computer. I'm talking about Chrome boxes or Chrome desktops or Chrome laptops. Log into that type of box and you're back in business. Even your window, whatever that was open, will open up again. If you're editing a document halfway through, your cursor will be exactly at that position where you left it at. That's what is. I'm not sure about the cursor part. I have to check. I have not checked. But the write-up that you wrote will be exactly as you left. When you forget one machine or destroy it or lose it and come back again. That's also very similar in concept to your iPhones.
Yeah.
If you have iCloud backup, which is increasingly getting full.
I know. Hate that.
Everybody hates that. But it's very expensive for iCloud. But if you have iCloud backup, you can have your entire phone backed up. And you lose your phone, you can restore the whole thing back to the way you wanted it to be, the way you left it the last time. You can also apparently these days do the same thing with Windows. I don't want to say too much, because I may be saying something wrong. I don't know, I have not seen it. But Windows Phone apparently does that. I don't know about Windows Surface yet. I think Surface will not do. RT does that though. Windows
Netflix
RT.
does that. It saves the user state where you left the movie. When you come back, it starts from there.
Netflix does.
Netflix.
Yeah,
Yeah, so Netflix, another example. Yes.
because Comcast doesn't do that. We
Amazon
have to
Prime.
restart everything.
Comcast.
I mean, when you go to stream takes, Comcast has stream takes. It's like Netflix.
normal, yeah.
You watch the movie, when you come back, it restarts everything. Netflix, when you start, it starts from where you left. So
Amazon Prime does the same thing.
yeah, so pretty much cool.
In fact, Amazon Prime has even gone beyond this to synchronize. If you have an audiobook and an ebook, they synchronize how much have you read in the ebook by flipping pages,
Wow.
and the corresponding pointer will be in the audiobook. and you can play from there. So you like, yeah,
That's
beautiful, beautiful. The only problem is you have to pay for the book twice, the audio book and the ebook. And yeah, that's just what it is. But if you have it, then you can listen to the book halfway through, go back home, try reading it, and then go back driving and listen again. It's nice. So that's what is meant by preserving user state. The book is a book is a book. It's audio book or ebook or wherever it is. But the state of the user is important, which means your bookmarks, your highlights, your notes you took in the book, all of that is synchronized also. And you throw a Kindle away, you get another Kindle, you have it, right? Same thing. That's what is called user state preservation. It is increasingly important.
Yes.
People expect it. And it's a good thing to have. Cloud enables that because you're storing things away from you. So it doesn't even matter what you have here. A lamp stack.
Linux, MySQL, Apache, and PHP. Dynamic.
It's not my fault, it's Mac.
Oh, this question threw me off, so I
So the question was this: What does Microsoft Office 365 enable you to do? A, B, and C. A, B, C, all three are possible.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you just get two right, you get points or not?
No.
Partial points?
No.
I'm not even counting points.
You get any wrong.
Okay, cloud services such as infrastructure as a service help businesses in the following ways. How does it help? Avoiding operational expenditure. Can you avoid operational expenditure?
I put that one down.
Can you really avoid operational expenditure?
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, operational expenditure is the 2 cents you pay every month, every hour. Right? Can you avoid it? No, you
Oh,
cannot.
yeah, you cannot avoid.
The 2 cents you pay every hour is not avoidable. Does it increase your capital expenditure?
Yes.
No, it doesn't.
No.
It does
Reduce the dependence
dependence.
on IT staff on the one.
It can.
Reduce dependency on IT staff, it can. You might need,
Dependency on cloud service providers?
no,
No, it doesn't.
no.
It's a loaded question. You made it multiple choice.
It's a very loaded question. So force.com is a platform to do what?
Yes.
True. Yes. It allows you
Oh,
to develop
see.
IT applications. to be
So what is force.com?
It's Salesforce.
Yes, yes, yes. We'll have a Salesforce guy who works for a Salesforce I don't know, somebody. What was that? I emailed this afternoon.
It's coming on Tuesday.
Yeah. He'll come here on Tuesday. He did not come the other day when Dave was speaking, but he'll come again. Ask him the question, how do you find a Salesforce.com job? That pinpointed question that some of you are interested in. Ask him that question. Hey, how did you find your job and how do we get that job? Plain and simple.
I'm gonna ask him if the certification training is not.
Ask him whatever you feel like. He wants to help and ask him. Beanstalk helps IaaS cloud users deploy and manage cloud apps on the Amazon cloud. Yes, it does. You can load up any OS you like.
No, you cannot go, Mac OS X, you cannot do it on there.
That's right. Because the license for Mac OS says that you can use Mac OS on a Apple labeled machine. And that's the license requirement, which means that it's a trick question. And it also means that you can put an Apple sticker on any box and install Mac OS there.
I can install Mac OS anywhere.
I did not say that.
I heard it.
You heard it.
It's called a.
The list
I know
says.
we have it on recording.
Okay, Amazon Web Services, Elastic Compute Cloud, EC2, ECC, this one. Lets users choose geographical regions they need to be.
Yes, very true.
AWS plugin for Eclipse. So Eclipse is an IDE, integrated development environment, like Xcode is for the Mac, or like Visual Studio is for Windows. IDE.
True.
And there is a plugin for Eclipse. AWS has a plugin for Eclipse, and that will enable you to do whatever you do on this site. whatever you do here on this site, this one, you can do that inside Eclipse without even going to a browser
True.
through the plugin that you have here.
True.
Cool.
See the spelling of this company?
Automatic, yeah.
Two T's.
Because the guy's name is Matt.
Oh.
And so Matt created WordPress software and gave it open source. And his name is a part of his company.
I say pretty much everything.
It is a blogging platform. It's a place for blog, a place to stream your videos.
Yes.
Yeah. If you pay them money, they'll let you do that. It's not free. And a choice for you to use your own domain instead of WordPress.com domain, like you can. You can modify domain. You pay them $10 a year, maybe a month. I don't know what. Some pricing.
Yeah, I probably failed this test.
I think most of us did.
The White House.
False.
True.
True. He showed us that one day.
I thought it was WordPress.
No,
No,
it's a this
I said the top one.
I call it shenanigans.
So Drupal is created by Dries. I think you know him by now. Yeah.
No.
So he created a company called Acquia. And guess what Acquia would do?
Water.
Huh? So they will host Drupal and provide it as a service. That's what they actually do. The service is called Drupal Gardens. It's a Drupal site. It's a place to blog. It's a customized version of your website based on Drupal software. Apple lets iCloud users create and load custom web applications on the Apple iCloud.
No. No.
Is Apple a cloud service? Is iCloud a cloud service?
No.
It's called storage.
It's
Yes.
storage.
Yes, yes,
Like a
yes.
drive.
There are no machines there. You cannot create machines and stop machines and destroy them.
Isn't it just like a
You
drive?
see the word.
It's like Dropbox.
That's
It's
going
like
to be the new
Box. It's like
business.
Google Drive. But they are not your classic infrastructure as a service.
That's going to be the new
Right?
business.
That's the new business coming up.
Yeah, for Apple.
I don't think they will go that business because this business is commodity. And Apple does not do commodity business.
They are not innovating anymore, so they are gonna. It's gonna be hard for them to compete. Well, see, stock is going down. And do you know the sales of actually all the Apple equipment has gone down in the last like so many years because they haven't actually invented since Steve Jobs. They are just doing the same thing. And truly, there's a report actually. People are using it less and less.
You have Apple stock.
So yes, it does not let you create custom applications. That is false. iCloud solves content sync problem by putting cloud in the center as a hub.
I said
True.
So what was the center of the hub, center of the universe, personal universe before Apple iCloud?
The hard drive.
PC. Yeah, it was PC. PC was the center of the universe. Where you connect everything to the PC and you operate on the PC, store your pictures on the PC, and they have put PC on the edge. And what is in the center now? Cloud. Cloud. So cloud in the center, and your PCs and Macs and phones and everything else are peripheral on the outskirts. They connect to a central location, and that central location is your cloud, whatever that location may be.
someday it's gonna rain. Down gets heavy.
So this auto scaling option in Beanstalk, if it's very easy to start. If you go to this console here and you look for whatever that Beanstalk was here, click, and I can demonstrate to you in literally 2 seconds. All it takes is 2 clicks.
One.
What we have here is you think there are some.
So, what is this again? Beanstalk, what is that again?
Beanstalk is. Tell me the story that there is some Beanstalk children's story. What is that story?
Jack and the Beanstalk.
Yeah, what is that story? Yeah, that's exactly what I'm asking.
He traded the.
Yeah, he trades a cow. He trades a cow.
And
for
what happens to the
beans,
beanstalk?
And it grows up into the sky.
That's
with
the reason why they have
giant
named it.
castle.
That's the reason why it has named like that. Beanstalk is it grows as you need grows, and
And
that's the reason.
like scalable.
Yes, yes, and that's why the name Beanstalk comes from. Is it scales your cloud servers automatically.
Oh,
That's the reason why they have it. The create and the demo starts now. Create a new application. Give it a name. Next. And select your tier. You want to have a web server tier and define your pre-configured environment, run PHP there. And then you want load balancing and automatic scaling. And you click next. And if you click next, it is basically done.
you have to pay.
You have to pay, but then it is done. And if your load increases, the number of machines get deployed automatically increase. If your load reduces, the number of machines deployed shrinks. Automatically shrinks and grows.
This is a platform as a service.
Yeah, platform as a service available for all these platforms. There's not much to demo here. I mean, it's just a click. And you can enable a Ruby environment.
So rather than using in the website example, web engine or whatever, they could have used Beanstalk.
Yes. 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 It's still a little nerdy. So I would rather have the customer go WP engine, more consumer facing applications. Sending them to Amazon Beanstalk and then they'll call Brandon. Hey, what did you do? I would rather have them call WP engine. That's why I suggested, go there, go outside. Keep it separate from AWS because it can be confusing.
But if you know what you're doing, you would go to the platform because it's way cheaper, yeah?
Cheaper. So yes, it has an auto scaling option and maintains a minimum number of running copies of your instance. So it will automatically scale, maintains a minimum number. Now write scale. What does this company do? What does this company do? Did you search? Let's see what they do.
Yeah, it's so many companies.
It's never-ending game, right? So what they do is give you interface like this, somewhat like this, to any cloud service provider.
Yeah.
So what they're essentially saying is that it gives you the control over storage, cloud usage, spends, and SLAs on lots and lots of products. But the key summary is it let you manage through one common interface, manage any type of cloud company that you have. That was this example of RightScale. There are many such companies like that. One of them is called Scalar. Like Flickr.
Like, yeah.
So this spelling Scalar
Yeah,
will do similar things, except this is open source.
like Tumblr.
Like Tumblr, Flickr, Scalar. And this company, what they do is let you manage a variety of cloud companies all through a common interface. That's how they make money. Back to here. Yes, it does. Continue. Skype. Is it a web application or a native application?
It's a web
The
application.
web.
It's
native?
It's a native application. It runs on the web.
Dang.
Yeah, but
So
you don't
native
have to have
application.
different versions of it?
Yes.
You have a board?
Yeah. So you see the Skype application here that's coming up. So this application, this is a Skype application and it is for Mac only. It is native right here. It doesn't run on a browser. That's what a web application would become.
Yeah, misunderstood.
Have you seen web applications? So if you have we're using one right now. Yeah, for Google Forms. If you have an iPhone, like some of you don't,
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
No, it's-
Wow.
Wanted that. So here, no, I'm going to show you. It will work on your phone also.
Oh, see,
I'll see.
is that Apple stuff?
That's what happens when you
You said that wouldn't happen.
That's how happens.
Yeah, the TV is mad because of back of the class.
Maybe it's the TV itself.
The first time it happened.
I said the
CD go sleep mode?
keyboard's bad, so.
Can't be good at TV.
Powered off.
Fix it, man.
Yeah. See what sleep mode.
So if you have a phone, I would like you to go to this website here.
Pie guy.
Pi Guy. Yes. Pi Guy. No. This link. This link, not the first one. Second link. On the phone.
TV doesn't last.
Yeah. Is there a recording?
Oh, I think that's a good place to end.
End the class? I'm not ending the class.
Somebody is like, gotta control this. Swing back.
And please, this link here.
Hi, guy.
It is not piguy.com, by the way.
Search the
He
web.
says just
Hi,
iPhone.
guy.
Pie guy.
It is an iPhone game.
It's an iPhone game.
It says iPhone game.
Siri, search the web.
On the car.
Hi, guy.
Just type.
Yeah.
This is a website, by the way.
Set your reminder about it.
It did it again.
What is wrong with you?
Because none of
I can.
It's being operated by an Mac. It doesn't want to
Plus button,
cooperate.
and it doesn't have plus button.
Playing Bluetooth?
It said press plus button and there's no plus
Hi,
button.
guys.
So what this thing is, you have to hold the phone horizontally and then it becomes Pac-Man.
You are useless.
It says click plus button, it doesn't show.
You mean installers?
Sure, Siri hears that a lot.
No, Siri used to be funny. You'd be like, "Where
Yeah,
can I
it didn't do
buy
anything.
it?"
Yeah.
Mine said the same.
I think that's
Siri
dead.
used to tell you locations where
Okay, let me demonstrate to you. Hold on.
Siri, wait.
Stop using Siri, man. It doesn't work. Siri
Three
doesn't work.
iPhone users against you. Just give it up.
Siri doesn't work.
Okay.
That's what Google says.
Used to be that.
Whatever.
Where can I hide a body?
Andy.
That's how. Where can I hide a body?
Like a virgin.
Anna.
One thing not to ask Siri.
I'm going to start the Pi Guy game.
Website for it. That said one thing not to ask Siri.
And see what it says. This is a landscape game and a new game.
How are you doing that though?
Oh, nice.
Oh,
Died.
So this was a classic example of a web application. Right? I did not install any app. I opened a browser. Right?
You're going to die.
And let me die. But the idea is this is a web application. It is running in the browser. It is coming here from the App Store.
You never had to download it.
No.
So,
This is just pure data.
Pure HTML, CSS, and JavaScript.
so anything that you have to download, that's a native.
Comes from the App Store is a native app. Or you install and set it up is a native app. Right? One more example of a app like this. I'm trying to remember its name.
did a war game. Playing
Dennis, thanks for your time.
Sort of like this.
Yes, this is a flash game or what?
It is.
It's a flash game. It's not
Oh.
web application.
Sign. That's what I'm talking about.
I know it.
Oh my
God. So
Spent so much time on Sega Genesis.
It's good when you're deployed.
Damn, they
It's
don't
kinda
make those
in the
anymore,
house.
Yeah.
They don't
So I'm
make
giving you
those.
one more example, and we'll change the question.
Oh, God, I would love to have that.
Oh, that's on
Even though my neighbor was playing Nintendo the other day, the original one.
Oh yeah, the blow card.
Yes, it's
What about
You remember you have to put
Do you ever have a white
on
line
top
to
of it
like
so
grab?
it goes all the way down?
yeah.
What is wrong with this?
That's what's going on, right?
What is going on?
What's your bot like? What is it? Yeah,
I was like, you had this issue a while ago with the recording.
Hey, real quick, I just want to share something I found today. Google Voice, you can get a free phone number and link it up to your phone, and you can have that, virtual phone number, dial your cell phone, your home phone, whatever. So it's the perfect phone number to put on your resume, to put on your LinkedIn,
You didn't know this?
whatever.
I did not know
I
that.
use the service.
I use Oma, so.
2011. I knew about this in 2011.
Hey, listen, there, it is a great idea.
Google Voice.
Are you guys going or something?
Nice, like when you go to.
Just decide to go? Halfway through or? We're not going, we're not going. The video is not working, we're not going, so stand by.
Did the army fry you that bad?
Yeah, and they,
No, but like,
No,
no,
it's- it
It's all you have
seems
to probably have to kind of set it up on a computer.
So caution with Google Voice. Yes, it may be good. Caution the word, 2 words. It is bad when your recruiter calls you Google Voice number. That Google Voice idiotic software, what it does, it says, hey, please record your name. That is bad for recruiter. Don't.
don't use it.
Have you called me ever?
yes.
Yes, give me, my number is a Google Voice number.
I use voice numbers.
And we make you record your name, who's calling me. I can screen you, I can filter you. That's not what you want to do through a recruiter. That's one catch. You disable that. You can still use it. Disable, go to Google Voice and disable that feature. And second thing, what if Google website or Google Voice stops working on the time when recruiter wants to give you a job offer? Another layer of vulnerability you want to avoid. What are you really gaining from Google Voice?
And so you're just out there and actually screen, and when they call, you know that it's from a recruiter or company, something to do with business. So one, you can answer your phone differently instead of.
So one thing, always answer nice.
Professional.
This is not always answer nicely, right?
Oh, yeah.
What are the benefits of using Google Voice?
No, you can use it to give it to like people you really don't want to deal with. So if they start
Yes,
harassing you, you
that's a
can
good one.
change phone number.
But is in the time when you're looking for a job, is using Google Voice a good idea? Is the question I want to ask.
Yeah.
There are two things that it's a bad idea. What are you doing? Tell me, black and white. What are you gaining?
Because you can
In the case of
because you can
and why?
Maybe when you're trying to get a car, like the dealerships.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Or you think I
Or
don't
yeah.
Selling on Craigslist, very good case. But I'm not sure. If I want to make sure that you understand Google Voice is good, but may not be good in the context you want to use it. Simple solutions are answer nicely all the time until you get a job. At least.
Until you get a job.
At least.
But you're always interviewing. You said
What?
And second thing is Google Voice may be useful if you want to filter somebody. You may not want to filter, so depending on what you want to do. Now let us finish this thing before we go. Hope the TV works. Audio and visual and other embedded devices. One is relatively better. This is wrongly written.
Yeah. Native apps.
You're better off native apps.
Yeah.
Because native apps will let you control audio and video elements easily.
Yeah.
Please read and check off. Wow. Sign in
I
blood.
cannot agree.
Sign in blood. Submit.
And submit no response.
And I did. Now, another native app I was looking for, another web app I was looking for. YouTube. Give me more examples of web applications that are really nicely written.
Dropbox.
Yes.
Like Facebook.
Viber is a application that gets on your PC or your phone.
Dropbox. Facebook's on your phone. I mean, not Dropbox. Evernote.
Evernote.
Well, for a mobile. Evernote is
Evernote is native and also on the web. Evernote.com.
So
What do you use every 14th of April? TurboTax.com.
Yes. Native is in Android is on your device.
TurboTax.com is a web application. Collusion pricing. That's a bad idea. What other applications that you can think of? Like, give me 2 more examples and we are done for today.
What's the question?
2 more examples of web applications.
Hulu.
Email. No.
Yes, Hulu.
Amazon Instant Video.
Hulu is right.
Netflix.
Netflix, can you watch it strictly on a web browser?
Yes.
Yes, you can.
Yes, you want
Can you? I don't have
Watch it on
it.
your phone.
Like, can,
Netflix.com.
phone is not a web application.
You can watch it on
Well,
your
there you go.
Just on
Website.
this Chrome browser, can I watch videos?
You go to
Go to
Netflix.com. You have
And
to have,
it plays, yeah.
You have to have Silverlight.
Without Silverlight, does it work? Okay. So, yeah, I was looking for a pure web application that does with HTML, CSS, JavaScript. So no Silverlight, no Flash. Silverlight is the ugly thing that Microsoft makes, and Flash is the other ugly thing that Adobe makes.
Yeah, Adobe.
That you can't
Mint video.
Mint.com.
Yes, Mint.com is an application. It's also an app on the phone, native. But Mint.com, you can go visit and find out. What do you do on Mint.com?
It's fine. Is it just like TurboTax whenever you
No.
usually it gives you the option to go to the
So if you do not use Mint.com, please start using it.
Yeah.
Is it?
Awesome.
Mint.
Mint.
MINT?
Yeah. It's basically like a financial tracking website. It helps you tell how much you spent per month, your income versus your debt to income ratio.
That's my wife.
Yeah.
That stuff.
Oh,
Hey, can I take some
She's a
pictures,
state
please?
auditor, so she
Some
knows.
pictures outside. More pictures. Thank you.
Hey, Malish. I'm gonna go ahead and turn that off for you.
people are usually
No picture, no
talk
picture.
about these man. Like, they scared
It was you.
Everything, but it's
Yeah, see? Let me go ahead and turn that off
I'm
for you.
reading it for 5 years. For real.
Julie, we're trying to take some pictures. You carry bags. I don't think it's a good picture.
How does it track?
Halloween, everybody.
How does it track your credit card, your car?
I'm gonna have to Halloween.
USA.
You sent it, didn't you?
I give out my USA numbers to my car loan numbers.
So you track, yeah, 5%.
Your balance information.
Did you show him yet? It's all in the budget.
Oh, okay.
So you can see how much money you spent, stuff like that. That stuff's not important. No, just spend. It'll be good. That's what I do. I just spend.
I don't know, man. This class. People are not serious. If you compare this with the MS, it's so serious.
Oh, I can imagine.
We still used to go. Where is that job? Aaron, what? I don't believe in it.
Time to go. I'm starving.
Oh, yeah, I need fucking computer.
Shit.
Somebody's gonna put the computer back.
Yeah.
Well, computer, last time we did. It's the like monitor here on the table.
Really, dude? Really? I want to stab you in the face. You took my MacBook.
I didn't take your MacBook.
Yeah, you
I
did.
don't have a MacBook. I have my MacBook. See,
There's no way